I thought she's barren?
Me too, I can't believe it.
This is unbelievable.
He invites X to Mistress'S baby shower to shame her, but she arrived with twins. What happened next? Esteemed viewers, welcome to Luxurious True Life Stories. Please like and subscribe for more captivating luxury true stories. Let's get into the story. Jennifer Cole lived a quiet and simple life in Boston. She worked as a skilled art restoration specialist at the Aldridge Restoration Studio, where she spent her days repairing damaged historical paintings. Jennifer loved her job because she believed broken things deserved patience and care. Outside work, she enjoyed peaceful evenings reading, sketching, and visiting her supportive mother Lydia Cole. Jennifer avoided attention and preferred a calm lifestyle, focusing on her passion for art and the meaningful work she did. One evening, the Aldridge Foundation hosted a charity gallery event to support art preservation. Jennifer attended only because her manager insisted the restoration team be present. While guests admired the paintings and discussed investments, Jennifer quietly stood near a restored masterpiece she had spent weeks repairing. At the same event was Joshua Thompson, a confident and ambitious financial strategist from the wealthy Thompson family. While speaking with business partners, Joshua noticed Jennifer's calm presence among the crowd. Curious, Joshua approached Jennifer and began asking about the painting she had restored. Jennifer explained her work with passion and sincerity, surprising Joshua with her intelligence and humility. Their conversation lasted longer than either expected. For the first time that evening, Joshua forgot about business and simply listened. What started as a casual conversation quietly planted the first seed of a relationship that would later change both their lives. After the gallery event, Joshua Thompson found himself thinking about Jennifer more than he expected. Unlike the women he usually met in elite social circles, Jennifer had a calm sincerity that fascinated him. A few days later, he returned to the Aldridge Restoration Studio under the excuse of wanting to see more of the paintings she had worked on. Jennifer was surprised when she saw him standing politely at the entrance, dressed in a simple suit instead of the expensive formal wear she had seen at the charity event. Joshua asked if she could show him how art restoration worked. As Jennifer carefully explained the delicate process of repairing cracked paint and fading colors, Joshua listened with genuine interest. For someone used to aggressive boardroom negotiations, the quiet patience of Jennifer's world felt strangely peaceful. Over the next few weeks, Joshua began visiting more often. Sometimes he brought coffee for the staff or asked Jennifer to join him for lunch at a nearby cafe. At first, Jennifer remained cautious because their lives were so different. Joshua came from wealth and powerful connections, while she valued simplicity and independence. However, Joshua's persistence slowly softened her hesitation. He enjoyed hearing about Jennifer's childhood, her love for art, and her dream of someday opening a small art education program for children who could not afford creative training. Jennifer, in return, listened as Joshua spoke about the pressures of growing up in a powerful business family and constantly trying to prove himself worthy of the Thompson name. Their friendship gradually deepened into something more meaningful. They began spending evenings walking through quiet city streets, talking about their hopes for the future. Joshua admired Jennifer's compassion, while Jennifer saw a thoughtful side of Joshua that most people never noticed. What started as curiosity slowly grew into affection, and neither of them realized how quickly their lives were becoming intertwined. As months passed, Joshua and Jennifer's relationship grew stronger. Joshua admired Jennifer's calm nature and honesty, qualities that were rare in the fast-paced world he lived in. He began introducing her to parts of his life she had never experienced before: elegant restaurants, charity events, and quiet weekend trips outside the city. Jennifer was sometimes overwhelmed by the luxury surrounding Joshua's world, but Joshua often reassured her that he valued her simplicity more than anything else. To him, Jennifer represented peace from the pressure he constantly faced within his powerful family. Joshua eventually introduced Jennifer to his parents, Charles and Eleanor Thompson. Charles was a powerful businessman who rarely showed emotion, while Eleanor carried herself with strict elegance and sharp judgment. Although they welcomed Jennifer politely, it was clear they expected someone more socially influential for their son. Jennifer remained respectful and composed during the meeting, answering their questions honestly. Joshua noticed the tension but ignored it because he believed love was enough to overcome family expectations. One snowy evening during a winter trip to Switzerland, Joshua decided he could no longer imagine his life without Jennifer. Standing beside a quiet frozen lake surrounded by mountains, he proposed to her with a ring that reflected the soft lights of the resort nearby. Jennifer was overwhelmed with emotion and joy. She said yes without hesitation, believing they were beginning a future built on trust and love. Months later, their wedding became a grand celebration attended by business leaders, family friends, and colleagues. To the outside world, Joshua Thompson and Jennifer Cole appeared to be the perfect couple starting a beautiful life together. After their wedding, Joshua and Jennifer moved into a beautiful townhouse in a quiet upscale neighborhood in Boston. The home was spacious, elegant, and filled with modern comforts Joshua had carefully chosen. Jennifer tried to make the house feel warm and personal by adding small touches, paintings she restored, fresh flowers near the windows, and soft music playing in the evenings. In the early months of their marriage, life seemed peaceful. Joshua continued working long hours at Thompson and Wright Capital while Jennifer returned to her work at the restoration studio. At night they shared dinner, talked about their day, and sometimes planned small weekend trips. From the outside, their marriage appeared balanced and happy. However, subtle pressures slowly began to enter their lives through Joshua's family. Eleanor Thompson frequently asked questions about when they planned to have children. During family dinners, she often mentioned how important it was for the Thompson family legacy to continue. Charles Thompson also hinted that Joshua needed an heir who could one day inherit the family business empire. Jennifer tried not to let those conversations affect her, but the constant expectations slowly began creating tension. Joshua initially brushed off his parents' comments, but their words lingered in his mind longer than he admitted. Months passed without Jennifer becoming pregnant, and Joshua gradually became more restless. He began checking calendars, suggesting medical appointments, and asking questions Jennifer had never considered before. Jennifer remained calm and patient, believing that starting a family required time and trust. But Joshua's tone slowly shifted from hopeful curiosity to quiet frustration. The once peaceful home began feeling different, as though an invisible pressure had settled into their lives, quietly waiting to grow stronger. As time passed, the quiet pressure surrounding Joshua and Jennifer's marriage slowly turned into visible tension. Joshua began coming home later than usual from work, often distracted and impatient. When Jennifer tried to talk about his long days, he would simply nod or change the subject. The conversations that once filled their evenings with laughter slowly disappeared. Instead, silence often sat between them at the dinner table. Jennifer tried to remain supportive, believing Joshua was simply overwhelmed by the pressure of work and family expectations. She reminded him that building a family should come naturally and not through stress or fear. But Joshua's frustration was growing deeper than she realized. Joshua's parents continued reminding him about the importance of having a child to carry the Thompson family legacy. At business dinners and family gatherings, Eleanor would make subtle comments about other young couples who were already raising children. Charles Thompson occasionally hinted that Joshua needed stability in his personal life if he wanted to fully inherit leadership of the company in the future. These remarks slowly affected Joshua's mindset. Instead of viewing his marriage as a partnership, he began seeing it through the lens of expectation and responsibility. Each passing month without a pregnancy quietly increased his impatience. Jennifer noticed the change in Joshua but tried to remain hopeful. She scheduled routine medical checkups and reassured him that everything would happen at the right time. She believed love and patience were stronger than fear. But Joshua had already begun allowing doubt to grow inside his mind. Instead of trusting Jennifer, he began questioning whether something might be wrong. What started as simple concern gradually transformed into suspicion, planting the first seeds of accusations that would soon damage their marriage in ways Jennifer never imagined. Joshua's frustration finally surfaced one evening after another tense dinner at his parents' house. On the drive home, he remained unusually quiet, gripping the steering wheel while staring straight ahead. When they arrived at the house, he walked inside without saying a word and placed his keys heavily on the table. Jennifer sensed something was wrong and gently asked what was troubling him. Joshua suddenly turned toward her with visible irritation. He began repeating the same question his parents had been asking for months, why they still did not have a child. Jennifer calmly explained that these things sometimes took time and that doctors had not found any medical problem. But Joshua was no longer listening with patience. His frustration quickly turned into a cruel accusation. Joshua bluntly suggested that Jennifer might be unable to have children. The word struck her like a sharp blow. Jennifer stood silently for a moment, shocked that the man who once promised to support her was now blaming her without evidence. She reminded him that they had not completed thorough medical tests and that assumptions would only create unnecessary pain. Instead of calming down, Joshua continued speaking with harsh certainty, claiming that something must be wrong with her. The warmth that once filled their marriage seemed to vanish in that moment. Jennifer tried to hold back her emotions, refusing to let anger control the conversation. She quietly told Joshua that marriage required trust and that blaming each other would only damage their relationship. But Joshua's mind had already begun forming a narrative influenced by pressure from his family and his own growing insecurity. What began as doubt was slowly turning into resentment. Jennifer walked away from the argument feeling deeply hurt, while Joshua remained convinced that the problem rested entirely with her. Neither of them realized that this accusation would soon push their marriage toward a devastating breaking point. Not long after the tension in Joshua's marriage began growing, he attended an exclusive corporate networking event hosted by one of Thomson & Wright Capital's major partners. The evening was filled with wealthy investors, ambitious entrepreneurs, and influential social figures. Joshua arrived alone, still frustrated from the constant arguments at home. As he moved through the crowd speaking with clients, someone suddenly caught his attention. A confident young woman with striking charm and effortless elegance was speaking animatedly with a group of guests near the bar. Her name was Mia Wilfred. Mia had mastered the art of social environments like this. She came from a modest background but had carefully built a reputation as someone who could navigate wealthy circles with confidence. She understood how to read people quickly and knew exactly how to present herself in ways that attracted attention. When Joshua was introduced to her through a mutual business contact, Mia immediately sensed the frustration behind his polished appearance. The conversation flowed easily as Mia asked thoughtful questions about his work and ambitions. Unlike the guarded conversations Joshua usually had with strangers, Mia listened with a flattering curiosity that made him feel understood. Over the following weeks, Mia began appearing more frequently in Joshua's social circle. Sometimes she attended business dinners where investors gathered, and other times she casually invited Joshua for drinks after events. Joshua found himself enjoying her company because she always seemed to agree with his opinions and admire his success. Whenever he mentioned the problems in his marriage, Mia subtly encouraged his frustration, suggesting that someone with his intelligence and ambition deserved a partner who could truly support his legacy. Without realizing it, Joshua was slowly allowing Mia's influence to reshape how he viewed his own marriage, unknowingly stepping into a situation that would soon change his life completely. Joshua's interactions with Mia Wilfred soon became more frequent and personal. What started as casual conversations at social events slowly turned into private meetings. Mia often suggested meeting after Joshua finished work, choosing elegant restaurants and quiet lounges where they could talk without interruption. She always listened carefully as Joshua complained about the tension in his marriage. Instead of questioning his behavior, Mia validated his frustrations and subtly encouraged him to believe he deserved something better. Joshua found comfort in the attention she gave him, especially during a time when his relationship with Jennifer felt strained. Mia carefully presented herself as the opposite of Jennifer in every possible way. She praised Joshua's ambition, admired his lifestyle, and spoke confidently about the importance of power and influence. Whenever Joshua described his arguments with Jennifer, Mia gently implied that some women simply could not understand the responsibilities carried by successful men. Her words were never openly aggressive, but they slowly reinforced the idea that Jennifer was holding Joshua back. Joshua began spending more time away from home, often telling Jennifer he was staying late at work when he was actually meeting Mia. Eventually, the emotional distance between Joshua and Jennifer grew large enough for Joshua to cross a line he once believed he never would. His friendship with Mia turned into a secret affair. While Jennifer remained focused on saving their marriage with patience and understanding, Joshua was drifting further away into a relationship built on admiration and manipulation. Mia, however, had her own hidden motives. To her, Joshua was not just a man seeking comfort, but an opportunity to secure the wealth and security she had always wanted. Neither Joshua nor Jennifer realized how quickly their lives were moving toward a devastating turning point. As Joshua's relationship with Mia deepened, the distance between him and Jennifer became impossible to ignore. He stopped coming home early, avoided conversations, and treated Jennifer with cold indifference. The warmth that once existed between them had completely disappeared. Jennifer continued trying to repair the marriage with patience, suggesting counseling and open conversations, but Joshua showed no interest. His mind had already been influenced by the idea that his future no longer included her. What Jennifer saw as a temporary struggle, Joshua had already decided was the end. One evening Joshua returned home earlier than usual, but his expression was unusually firm. Jennifer immediately sensed that something serious was about to happen. Joshua placed a set of documents on the dining table and calmly told her he had filed for divorce. Jennifer felt the air leave her lungs as she stared at the papers in disbelief. Joshua spoke with a cold certainty that shocked her. He claimed their marriage had failed because she could not give him the family he wanted. Without hesitation, he accused her of being the reason their life together had fallen apart. His words carried a cruel finality that left no space for discussion. As Jennifer quietly packed her belongings later that night, Joshua stood nearby watching without emotion. Instead of offering comfort or regret, he mocked her, repeating the accusation that she was incapable of giving him children. The humiliation cut deeply, but Jennifer refused to respond with anger. She finished packing with dignity and walked toward the door, leaving behind the house that once held her hopes. Joshua believed he had freed himself from a problem that was preventing his future. But neither of them knew that a truth waiting just ahead would soon change everything Joshua believed about that painful decision. Jennifer left the house that night with only a few suitcases and a quiet determination to start over. The cold evening air felt heavy as she stepped into a taxi, unsure of what the future would hold. She temporarily moved into a small apartment owned by an elderly woman named Nora Bennett, who rented affordable rooms to young professionals in the city. Nora was kind and welcoming, offering Jennifer warm meals and gentle encouragement during those difficult first days. Although Jennifer tried to remain strong, the emotional weight of the divorce often left her sitting silently by the window at night, reflecting on how quickly her life had changed. A few weeks later, Jennifer began noticing unusual changes in her health. She felt constant fatigue, occasional dizziness, and a strange sensitivity to certain foods. At first she believed the symptoms were simply the result of stress and emotional exhaustion from the divorce. However, Nora gently suggested she visit a doctor just to be safe. Jennifer scheduled an appointment with Dr. Daniel Harper, a compassionate physician who had been her trusted friend since college. During the medical examination, Daniel carefully reviewed her symptoms and decided to run several tests. When Daniel returned with the results, his expression was filled with surprise and happiness. He calmly told Jennifer that she was pregnant. Jennifer stared at him in disbelief, trying to process the unexpected news. As Daniel continued explaining the test results, the surprise grew even greater. She was not carrying one child, but twins. Jennifer felt tears slowly fill her eyes as a mixture of shock, relief, and quiet joy overwhelmed her. In that moment she realized something that changed everything Joshua had accused her of. She was not the one who had been incapable of having children. A new chapter of her life had just begun, and she would face it with courage for the sake of the two lives growing inside her. Jennifer left the clinic that day holding the medical report close to her chest, her emotions shifting between disbelief and quiet happiness. The news of the twins felt like a miracle after everything she had endured. Yet alongside the joy came a deep sense of responsibility. She was now alone, carrying two children while trying to rebuild her life after a painful divorce. Instead of feeling defeated, Jennifer made a quiet promise to herself that she would raise her children with strength and dignity. She chose not to tell Joshua about the pregnancy. The cruelty of his accusations still echoed in her mind, and she believed the children deserved a peaceful life far away from that bitterness. Life slowly became more challenging as her pregnancy progressed. Jennifer continued working at the restoration studio, carefully balancing her health and responsibilities. Her friend Dr. Danielle Harper supported her through regular medical checkups, while Nora Bennett became a comforting presence at home. Nora treated Jennifer like family, preparing healthy meals and reminding her to rest whenever she worked too hard. Jennifer's brother Marcus also began visiting more often after learning about the pregnancy. As an investigative journalist, Marcus had always been protective of his younger sister, and he made sure she never felt alone during this difficult time. Despite the challenges, Jennifer remained hopeful. She spent evenings preparing for the arrival of the twins, reading parenting books and organizing the small apartment to make space for the babies. She imagined the future she would build for them, a life filled with love, patience, and security. Every gentle movement she felt from the babies reminded her that her life now had a deeper purpose. While Joshua continued living his life believing Jennifer had disappeared from his story, Jennifer was quietly preparing to welcome two new lives that would soon change everything. While Jennifer quietly prepared for motherhood, Joshua's life continued moving in a completely different direction. His relationship with Mia Wilfred had grown stronger after the divorce. Mia had fully stepped into Joshua's life, accompanying him to corporate dinners, luxury events, and private gatherings hosted by influential investors. She quickly adapted to the wealthy lifestyle surrounding the Thompson family. Eleanor Thompson, who had once disapproved of Jennifer, surprisingly showed more acceptance toward Mia because she appeared confident and socially polished. Joshua felt relieved believing he had finally found someone who understood the ambitious world he lived in. One evening, during an elegant dinner at Joshua's home, Mia shared what she called wonderful news. With a carefully timed smile, she announced that she was pregnant. Joshua was stunned at first, but the surprise quickly turned into excitement. To him, the news felt like proof that he had made the right decision in leaving Jennifer. The idea that he would soon become a father filled him with pride and satisfaction. His parents were equally pleased when they heard the announcement. Eleanor immediately began discussing plans for celebrating the coming child, while Charles Thompson spoke about the importance of continuing the Thompson family legacy. Mia used the moment perfectly. She suggested hosting a grand baby shower to celebrate the future heir of the Thompson family. Joshua agreed enthusiastically, wanting to show the world that his life was now complete. Invitations were sent to business partners, family friends, and influential guests across the city. But Mia had another idea that Joshua found strangely appealing. She suggested inviting Jennifer to the celebration. Mia framed it as a way for Joshua to prove he had moved on and that his life had become successful without her. Joshua accepted the idea without hesitation, unaware that this decision would soon create a moment none of the guests would ever forget. The invitation arrived on a quiet afternoon while Jennifer was carefully organizing baby clothes in her small apartment. The envelope looked elegant, sealed with a gold emblem she immediately recognized from the Thompson family events she once attended. For a moment she simply stared at it, unsure why anyone from Joshua's circle would contact her after everything that had happened. When she finally opened the envelope, she found a beautifully printed invitation announcing Mia Wilfred's baby shower. The message described a grand celebration hosted by Joshua Thompson to honor the coming child of his new partner. Jennifer read the invitation slowly, sensing the hidden intention behind it. She understood Joshua well enough to recognize that the invitation was not meant as kindness. It was meant to remind her of the accusation he had once thrown at her, that she could not give him a child. For a brief moment, the painful memory of that night returned to her mind. But instead of feeling humiliated, Jennifer felt something else entirely. She gently placed her hand over the twins resting in her arms. They had been born only weeks earlier, healthy and strong. Their quiet breathing beside her reminded her that the truth was already living in front of her. After a moment of calm reflection, Jennifer made a decision. She would attend the event. Not to argue, not to seek revenge, but simply to stand with quiet dignity. Marcus supported her choice, believing the truth would speak for itself when the moment came. Nora helped Jennifer prepare, choosing a simple but elegant outfit suitable for the occasion. Jennifer carefully prepared the twins, knowing their presence alone would reveal the reality Joshua had once refused to believe. None of them knew that the baby shower Joshua planned as a moment of humiliation was about to become the most shocking event of his life. The day of the baby shower arrived with grand elegance. Joshua had spared no expense organizing the celebration at one of the city's most luxurious hotel ballrooms. The hall was decorated with delicate flowers, gold ribbons, and elegant tables filled with expensive gifts. Influential guests from the business world, family friends, and members of high society filled the room with laughter and conversation. Mia stood proudly beside Joshua, enjoying the attention and admiration from everyone around her. She wore a beautiful dress designed to highlight her pregnancy, greeting guests as though she had already secured her place within the Thompson family legacy. As the event continued, Joshua occasionally glanced toward the entrance, wondering if Jennifer would actually appear. Some guests had already heard rumors about his previous marriage and whispered quietly among themselves. Joshua believed that if Jennifer showed up alone, it would only confirm the narrative he had created about their divorce. Mia also watched the entrance carefully, confident that the situation would reinforce her position in Joshua's life. The atmosphere remained cheerful until the ballroom doors slowly opened again. Jennifer stepped inside calmly, carrying one baby in each arm. The room gradually fell silent as guests turned their attention toward her. She walked forward with quiet confidence, dressed simply but elegantly. The twins rested peacefully against her shoulders, unaware of the shock spreading through the crowd. Murmurs quickly filled the room as people began realizing what they were seeing. Joshua stood frozen, staring at the children with disbelief. In that moment, the accusation he once used to destroy his marriage shattered in front of everyone. Jennifer had not come to argue or explain. The truth had already arrived with her. The ballroom remained silent for several long moments after Jennifer entered. Guests exchanged confused glances, whispering quietly as they tried to understand what they were witnessing. Joshua stood frozen beside Mia, his eyes fixed on the twins in Jennifer's arms. His mind struggled to process the reality unfolding before him. The woman he had once accused of being incapable of having children was now standing calmly in front of him with two newborn babies. The confident image he had built around his decision to divorce Jennifer suddenly began to collapse under the weight of the truth. Jennifer walked forward slowly, maintaining her composure despite the intense attention surrounding her. Some guests moved aside to clear a path, while others continued watching in disbelief. When she finally stopped a short distance from Joshua, the twins stirred gently, drawing even more attention to the moment. Jennifer did not raise her voice or show anger. Her calm presence alone spoke louder than any argument. The painful accusations Joshua had made months earlier now echoed silently in his mind as he looked at the children. Joshua's parents were also stunned. Eleanor Thompson, who had once pressured Jennifer about having children, could barely hide her shock. Charles Thompson studied the scene with a serious expression, realizing that something far deeper had been misunderstood. Meanwhile, Mia stood quietly beside Joshua, her confident smile slowly fading as the attention shifted away from her celebration. What Joshua had planned as a moment to prove his success had instead exposed a painful truth in front of everyone. For the first time since the divorce, Joshua began realizing that the story he believed about Jennifer might have been completely wrong. The baby shower ended in an atmosphere completely different from what Joshua had imagined. Guests left the ballroom whispering among themselves, still stunned by Jennifer's unexpected arrival. The celebration that was meant to honor Mia had quietly turned into a moment of public embarrassment for Joshua. Mia remained calm on the surface, but inside she was furious. The attention she had hoped to receive had disappeared, replaced by questions and rumors about Joshua's past marriage. She knew that once doubt entered Joshua's mind, her position beside him could become unstable. Later that night, after returning to Joshua's luxurious home, Mia sat alone in the study while Joshua remained in another room, still processing the shocking events of the day. Mia opened Joshua's laptop and began accessing several financial accounts she had secretly learned about during their relationship. Over the past months she had carefully observed his passwords, banking habits, and business accounts. With calm precision, she began transferring large amounts of money into a series of offshore accounts she had prepared long before the baby shower. Each transfer moved quietly through international banking systems, leaving Joshua completely unaware. When the transfers were finished, Mia printed a short letter and placed it neatly on the desk where Joshua would easily find it. The message was simple and cold. She wrote that he had been foolish to believe everything she told him. The child she claimed to be carrying was never his, and the relationship had always been part of her plan to secure financial freedom. After leaving the letter behind, Mia quietly packed her belongings and disappeared into the night, leaving Joshua's home empty and silent. By the time Joshua discovered what had happened, the betrayal would already be complete. The morning after the disastrous baby shower, Joshua woke up with a heavy mind. The shocking image of Jennifer holding the twins still replayed in his thoughts. Confusion and doubt filled him as he tried to understand how everything had unfolded so quickly. Hoping to clear his mind, he walked into his study to review some work documents. As he stepped inside, he immediately noticed something unusual. The room was strangely quiet, and Mia was nowhere to be seen. At first he assumed she had gone out early, but something on his desk quickly caught his attention. A single folded letter lay neatly beside his laptop. Joshua picked it up with mild curiosity, expecting a simple message from Mia. But as he began reading, his expression slowly changed from confusion to shock. Mia's words were direct and merciless. She wrote that he had been incredibly foolish to trust her so easily. She admitted that the child she claimed to be carrying was never his. The relationship had never been about love or loyalty. Instead, she had only been interested in the wealth and opportunities that came with being close to him. The baby shower, the pregnancy announcement, and every emotional promise she made had all been part of a calculated plan. Joshua's hands trembled as he rushed to open his laptop. Within minutes he discovered that several major accounts connected to his personal finances had been emptied. The money had been transferred overseas to offshore accounts that could not easily be traced. The realization struck him with overwhelming force. Not only had Mia deceived him emotionally, she had also taken a large portion of his fortune. As Joshua sat in the silent room staring at the letter, the weight of his decisions finally began to sink in. The woman he had trusted after destroying his marriage had vanished, leaving him alone with regret and consequences he could no longer escape. Within days, the consequences of Mia's betrayal began spreading through Joshua's life. The missing money created serious complications within his financial dealings, and several business partners started asking difficult questions. News about the failed baby shower had already circulated quietly among social circles, and now rumors about the stolen funds began adding to the damage. Joshua tried to maintain control of the situation, but the pressure quickly became overwhelming. His reputation, once built on confidence and authority, began weakening as people started questioning his judgment. Charles Thompson soon learned about everything that had happened. When Joshua was called to his father's office, the atmosphere was heavy with disappointment. Charles listened carefully as Joshua explained Mia's deception and the stolen funds. Instead of showing sympathy, Charles spoke firmly about responsibility. He reminded Joshua that leadership required wisdom and discipline, qualities he had clearly abandoned. Charles was especially disturbed by how Joshua had treated Jennifer during their divorce. For the first time, Joshua realized that his father's disappointment went far beyond the financial loss. Joshua left the office feeling more isolated than ever before. The life he had built on pride and confidence was collapsing around him. His relationship with Mia had ended in betrayal, his business reputation had suffered serious damage, and the truth about Jennifer now haunted his thoughts. Every decision he had made in anger and arrogance was now returning with painful consequences. For the first time, Joshua was forced to face the possibility that he had destroyed the one relationship that truly mattered. In the weeks that followed, Joshua's life became quiet and heavy with reflection. The once busy house that had been filled with events and visitors now felt empty. Mia was gone, the stolen money remained unrecovered, and the confidence he once carried had slowly faded. Joshua spent long evenings alone, often sitting in the same study where he first discovered Mia's letter. Without the constant noise of business and social gatherings, his thoughts repeatedly returned to the same painful memory, Jennifer standing calmly in that ballroom with the twins in her arms. For the first time, Joshua allowed himself to confront the truth he had avoided. Jennifer had never deserved the accusations he threw at her. She had tried to save their marriage with patience, while he had chosen pride and outside influence instead of trust. The cruel words he spoke during the divorce replayed clearly in his mind, each one now sounding harsher than he remembered. The realization that Jennifer had been pregnant when he pushed her away filled him with deep regret. He had abandoned not only his wife but also the family he had once claimed to want. Joshua eventually learned through quiet conversations that Jennifer had built a peaceful life caring for the twins with help from her friends and family. Hearing this brought a mixture of sadness and respect. Jennifer had moved forward with strength while he was left behind facing the consequences of his choices. For the first time in his life, Joshua understood that success and wealth could not repair the damage caused by arrogance and cruelty. Some mistakes carried consequences that could not simply be undone. Months passed, and Jennifer's life slowly settled into a peaceful rhythm centered around her twins. Her small apartment was now filled with soft laughter, baby toys, and the gentle sounds of two growing children. Nora Bennett continued helping with daily care, while Marcus visited often, proudly supporting his sister and his young nephews. Jennifer also returned to part-time work at the Aldridge Restoration Studio, carefully balancing her career with motherhood. Her colleagues admired the quiet strength she had shown through everything she endured. Despite the pain of the past, Jennifer focused only on building a loving and stable life for her children. Jennifer never spoke badly about Joshua in front of the twins. Instead, she chose to raise them with kindness and dignity, believing bitterness would only harm the future she wanted for them. Each day she watched them grow stronger, reminding herself that the painful chapter of her marriage had led to the greatest blessings of her life. The joy she felt while holding them erased much of the hurt she once carried. Her life was no longer defined by the accusations or humiliation she had faced. It was defined by the family she now protected and loved deeply. Joshua, on the other hand, lived quietly with the consequences of his past choices. His reputation slowly recovered in the business world, but the regret inside him never fully disappeared. Occasionally he heard updates about Jennifer and the twins, knowing they were growing up far away from the chaos he had created. Though he could not change the past, the experience had transformed him into a more humble man. Meanwhile, Jennifer continued moving forward with strength and grace, beginning a new chapter of life that no longer depended on anyone else's approval. As this story comes to an end, remember that behind every luxury lies a truth few ever see. If this story moved you, support the channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until the next unforgettable true story, stay inspired and stay curious.